Let's bring in Nathan Sales. He's former ambassador at large and coordinator for counterterrorism. Mr. Ambassador, welcome.
Thanks, Mike. Good to be here.
So your reaction to the breaking news, these drones shot down by the USS Carney, self-defense. Your thoughts?
Well, look, Iran is behind everything that we're seeing in terms of attacks directed on U.S. forces. We're seeing Iranian proxies attack Americans in Syria and Iraq and now from Yemen. And they're going to keep doing it until we make them stop. You know, we heard from the Secretary of Defense, tough talk. Time to see action to match the words. There's a couple of things that the administration needs to do. One, instead of blowing up empty munitions depots in the desert in the middle of the night, you're going to actually have to take action and take strikes against the people responsible for these attacks. And that doesn't just mean the proxies, that also means the Iranian puppet masters, the ones who are pulling the strings. And the second thing, with respect to the Houthis in particular, what else do they need to do for us to designate them as a terrorist organization? Right. That's actually something we did during the Trump administration, but within weeks of taking office, the Biden administration took them off the terror list. Maybe they need to reconsider that and put them back on.
So our Pentagon producer, Liz Frieden's reporting no injuries on the ship, no damage to the USS Carney. Sounds like the Carney did a great job in terms of responding to these drones.
Absolutely right. And so far, let's be clear, we've been lucky. 75 attacks, plus the ones targeting American warships in the past 6 weeks. But luck is not a strategy. It's only a matter of time before one of these Iranian proxies gets lucky and actually causes fatalities. At least 50 American soldiers have been injured during this Iranian-backed terror campaign, including some with traumatic brain injuries. That's bad enough, but imagine what happens if one of these drones or cruise missiles or rockets gets lucky and hits its target. We could be dealing with dozens of American casualties, and that's going to force the president's hand to escalate. So the time to prevent this kind of attack, the time to establish deterrence, is now, when we can gain the upper hand and maintain dominance in terms of the escalation ladder.
How do you send a strong message to the Iranian regime?
We need a signal to the Iranian regime that we're going to hold them responsible. And the way to do that is not just by tough talk, but by tough action. So forget about the proxies, you know, these mopes in the desert who are driving around in Toyota Hiluxes. They're just the tip of the iceberg. The people who are really commanding this campaign, the people who are providing the weapons, the training, and the strategic direction, the instructions to go hit Americans and try and kill them, that's all happening in Tehran, and it's happening with Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps commanders who are out there in the field. Those are the people that we need to be targeting, because it's only if you put pressure on them that you're going to see Iran back down. They respond to strength. When they see American weakness, and that's, I'm afraid, what they see right now, they see an opportunity to escalate.
Now, to be fair, the president has ordered some responses to these attacks, but it doesn't appear that the Iranian regime has gotten the message.
I think that's exactly right. Or to put it a little differently, the message they've gotten is the opposite of the one that we want to send. The message they've gotten is it's open season on Americans in the Middle East, and the White House is not going to take action to protect them. I think since mid-October, we've seen maybe 4 responses by the United States. 4 versus 75, that's a lopsided balance, and it's not going to instill any fear in the hearts of the Iranian commanders who are organizing and implementing this terror campaign.
So back to the breaking news, seeing these drones attacking commercial ships and then having a response from a U.S. ship, your thoughts on, is this a big escalation at this point?
I think it is, Mike, because we're not just seeing attacks on American vessels and American service members. The Houthis and other Iranian proxies are starting to take strikes on neutral parties, you know, commercial tankers, commercial vessels that are trying to bring goods to harbor. Right. That signals that the Iranians think they can get away with it. Nothing that happens in Yemen, nothing that the Houthis do is spontaneous. It can only happen with training and money and weapons and instructions from Tehran. So what that says to me is the Iranians think they can get away with it, targeting not just Americans, but targeting commercial ships as well.
Ambassador Nathan Sales, thank you so much for your time today. Great to have your analysis.
Great to be here. Thanks.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.